I've been able to beat the normal Dread Balloon pretty easily, but the Elite's a whole nother story. Not only is it insanely difficult just like every other Elite boss battle, but I learned that I'm pretty dumb. So I've always realized the Dread Balloon becomes immune to different types of monkeys, but I didn't realize he takes on different effects as well. When he has the rocks on, he also has the properties of a ceramic balloon, but when he has the rocks off, he has the properties of a lead balloon. And I never realized this before because I'd always have an alchemist buffing stuff that wasn't able to hit leads, which means anytime it was getting the buff to pop leads, it was just dealing so much damage because it wasn't an elite that it didn't matter. But this very quickly showed its ugly head when doing the elite because it's so much more health, so much faster that I needed to figure something out. And trust me, I tried a lot of strategies trying to take this thing down. I tried getting Middle Path Engineer Monkey, I tried Middle Path Villages, I was getting mad, so I was trying the Super Monkeys. Nothing was really working for me. I kept getting rocked over and over and over again. This elite is no joke. So when I started realizing, oh my god, he has lead property, no wonder I'm not doing any damage to him, well, I felt really stupid. Not only did I feel stupid, I just realized how much harder it's going to be to actually take this thing down. But you know what the hardest part about the Dread Balloon was? It wasn't the Dread Balloon itself, it was the rock balloons that come out. They also carry the same ceramic and lead properties depending on if he has the rock shell on or not. And they just become so difficult to pop on the elite versions that I was constantly just losing because of them. I was constantly losing DPS to take down the rock balloons, and not focusing the Dread Balloon, and I was constantly just leaking rock balloons and just dying from them. I honestly could not tell you what a good strategy is to pop these things. It feels like nothing is able to pop them very well at all. The amount of health these rock balloons have is just so insane, and I could not find anything that was reliable at popping them. It does make me think about the strategies I was trying to use though. What would work better? What would help against these things? How could I prepare for the next elite? I'm honestly still not sure. I'm thinking maybe a spike factory could be really good, getting some perma-spike or whatever really early before the Dread Balloon shows up. But that's also really hard because you need to be very efficient with your farming, which I don't think I am. So if you're here to try and learn how to beat the elite, I can't really help you much, but I can tell you where I was screwing up, and maybe you can figure something else on your own. So the first major thing you should take note of if you want to try and develop your own strategy is how the Dread Balloon works. The Dread Balloon will show up, it'll have a rock encasing it where it moves very slow, but it's essentially like a second health bar. And when the rock layer's on, it has the property of a ceramic essentially, so anything that does extra ceramic damage should in theory do more damage to the Dread Balloon. When you pop the rock layer, the Dread Balloon becomes significantly faster. It also, like I mentioned before, gains the property of a lead balloon, so anything that can't do damage to leads isn't going to damage the Dread Balloon in this phase, which means you're going to want lead popping power. My first thought was immediately a Middle Path Village, which gives you popping power for everything. But that's really expensive and the towers need to be within its radius. But this does make stuff like the Sticky Bomb Ninja really useful, or even stuff like the Inferno Ring, or Plasma Super Monkeys, or Mad, or Bomb Shooters. There's a long list of things that work well for it. But of course the big problem with the Elite version is there's so much health, and you're going to need so much money that you need to farm a lot. And when it has more health quicker, you're trying to farm earlier and more effectively, and if you can't really do that, then you start lacking in funds to be able to defend against the higher HP. But I haven't even mentioned the biggest thing about the Elite Dread Balloon is that it gains immunity to certain monkeys. So it goes primary, military, magic, and then support. It'll always be saying it underneath the health bar. This means if it's immune to primary, then any primary monkey like attack shooter won't do any damage whatsoever. And it forces you to have to build different types of towers. This became especially noticeable for me when I was relying too much on certain types of towers to get me through, and then all of a sudden when they're doing 0 damage, well, I'm just kind of screwed. Part of this also comes down to tower knowledge. I'm not all that knowledgeable on every kind of tower in the game. I find that the best damaging towers came to magic and military. But those are also very expensive towers usually. But even if you're building two different types of towers, when one of them becomes immune, you're missing out on half of your damage. So I found that my strategies just weren't working because I'd get nullified. And no matter how hard I tried, I just could not figure out for the life of me how to farm efficiently while also having enough damage to deal with it. One of my runs, I actually got to wave 99, but I died because it took too long. I couldn't do enough damage. I had finally gotten everything under control, but I just took far too long. And I think it's also super important to still remember those rock balloons exist. Like I said earlier, they also gain the properties of whatever's going on with the dread balloon, so ceramic or lead. Now in the normal version of dread balloon, these aren't a huge problem, but they can be pretty annoying to deal with. In the elite version, they become a very large problem with trying to take down the dread balloon. I was never leaking to normal balloons, I was only ever leaking to these rock balloons. I have no idea how much health these balloons gain, I have no idea what works the best because whatever I used it felt like it just wasn't doing much. They have such high amounts of HP on the elite version that they do become very deadly very quickly. And even as I'm recording this right now, I still have no idea what would work well against these rock balloons. Because they also gain the immunity to different types of towers. So if you have a tower that works really well at cleaning these up, maybe a super monkey, then when your magic is disabled, all of a sudden you're leaking rock balloons everywhere. You really can't rely on one tower or one specific type of tower against this boss, because every aspect of it demands you to have a lot of different types of towers. Or to sell your towers you're using to get a different type of tower to replace what you just had. But this is just a very difficult elite for those reasons. You see, the Lich would also bring in its own type of balloons, and those weren't horrible to deal with because they were zombie balloons. They weren't extremely bloated in their HP values. The Dread Balloon is hard because the rock balloons have so many resistances and become so bloated in their HP that there's not really any one good, reliable way of getting rid of them. I still haven't tried everything I possibly can. Maybe I can find something the next time the Elite comes out for the Dread Balloon. But as of right now, I'm still pretty clueless about it all. So if anyone else knows more about this than I do, please feel free to leave a comment about it. And if you have any tips for anyone else trying to beat it, also feel free to leave a comment. But for me, that's kinda how my Elite Dread Balloon went. It was pretty rough, I didn't do very well, but I gave it my all. Now, before I end this video, this is my 21st day of daily uploading up until Christmas, and as such I have a collage playing in the background to commemorate every day that I have uploaded. That's gonna take us out. If you like, leave a like, subscribe, comment, blah blah blah. Have a good one, everyone.